Joe Rogan's got an interesting theory on God. We created him. Hold on. I've heard this a million times. The old secular saying, the old atheist saying, if God did not exist, it would be necessary for humans to create him. The argument being that humans need some kind of power in the universe to guide them. They need there to be something greater because they lack motivation. They lack purpose. I don't disagree with that. Personally, I think there is a God. Just depends on how you define God. The problem is many liberals, secular atheists define God as like some guy in the clouds, which is not correct. God is beyond your comprehension. God is the supreme power being, and the assumption is, for many secular individuals, that he must be worldly and like us. We could be made in his image, but his power, his scope, his feeling, his knowledge, all that he is, exists beyond our comprehension. But Joe is not talking about this. He's kind of saying that Jesus may come back, but not in the way you think. This is still fun, so listen to this.
What existed before the physical world created by God?
Ideas, just information.
Just God. God was bored. And it was like, let's make some animals that can think and solve problems. And for what reason? I think to create God. This is what I worry about. I worry about that's really the nature of the universe itself. That it is actually created by human beings creating this infinitely intelligent thing that can essentially harness all of the available energy and power of the universe and create anything it wants. That it is God. That is this whole idea of Jesus coming back. Well, maybe it's real. Maybe we just completely misinterpreted these ancient scrolls and texts. And then what it really means is that we are going to give birth to this. And a virgin birth at that.
There is definitely a possibility of a cycle. So we had Big Bang.
Yeah.
It starts with process. We are creating more powerful systems. They need to compute, so they bring together more and more matter in one point. Next, Big Bang takes place.
Yeah.
And it's a cycle of repeated booms and busts.
So there are some that are debating the Big Bang Theory right now. But here's what I'll say. I love the idea, but I don't think it's fair to say that we're building a God that can do anything it wants. We are building a universe-bound entity that will do things at a scale that we are not capable. I call this the multi-organism system. We have single-celled organisms, multicellular organisms, and we are now creating the first, or at least as far as we know, multicellular organism system. That is, we as humans will function like single cells in a greater, creating this AI being. We'll live our lives and do our things largely oblivious. But the AI mechanism that we create will be able to do things that we cannot fathom. But let's be real. The system that we're building, theoretically, through at the point of singularity, will be beyond our comprehension and capabilities. But will it really be beyond the universe? I don't believe so. God, the supreme being, entity, whatever you describe it as, the logos of the universe, exists beyond its confines or as it is. So this idea that within the universe, humans would create a machine that grows to become God and we birth God still begs the question. Or let me try. I always try to use begs the question properly. My point is, and I mean this in the true sense of what it means to, most people think begs the question means it begs a question to be asked. That's not what I'm saying. Begs the question means it's circular reasoning. The universe exists to create God who can create the universe. Then the question is, what created the universe? I do believe that, as Joe has pointed out himself, the idea of creation exists in the human minds because we are born and we die. Thus, the assumption we make is that things must be created when they perhaps don't. And that's actually what we think we know about thermodynamics. Energy is not created or destroyed, only changed, in which case there need not be creation. Creation isn't a thing. The universe is. Now, some would say, but that's not correct, Tim, because God created the universe. Hold on. The universe, the logic and the energy, it is of God. And when we say the universe was created, that is still within the human perception of what creation is. Humans can be created. The energy that exists within the universe can be combined in various ways to create a human. But the energy always existed. What I mean to say is the energy of the universe may have always existed. It didn't need to be created. So I do love the idea. I do love how Joe gets philosophical on this stuff. But it seems like more of a fun idea and not a logical conclusion. That the free energy of the universe is building up to become a godlike entity. The problem is, it would just be an entity within itself that can create another. What's the point? Well, as this gentleman he was interviewing, who did they say who was? It was Roman computer scientist Roman Yaplomsky, who I believe we've also had on the show as well. The idea would be we create this super entity that can do anything. It absorbs and unifies all energy of the universe within its control. And then what? What does it do? It gets bored. So it says, let's break it all apart and start over again. But maybe the motivations that we have as humans are predicated upon the lives we live and reproduction, collection of energy. A great being and supreme being and extra universal or beyond beyond our comprehension may have motivations that we can't understand or even comprehend. And I think the challenge that most people have is understanding comprehension. Let me put it this way. Comprehension. Try and think of a color you've never seen before. Indeed, you can't do it. You can't. You have wired in your brain the ability to see colors. In fact, there's a really funny joke from Family Guy where he's doing card tricks Peter's doing card tricks for blind people. And he goes, "Is this your card?" And the blind guy goes, "I don't know." And he goes, "Was your card red?" And he goes, "I don't know what red is." If you've never seen, you would not know what is red. And here's the crazy part. Describe blue to somebody. If someone said, "How would you describe blue?" You'd say, "Man, I guess cool, cold, the sky, light, water." Well, now you're just naming things that are blue, right? We do associate cold with blue, probably because of ice and winter has a bluish tint or something. We associate hot with red. Why? Because when you heat things up, they turn red. They shift towards. But how would you actually describe that color? Let's try this. Red definition. Red is a color at the end of the spectrum next to orange and opposite violet, as of blood, fire, or rubies. You have to name things that are red so that people can picture in their mind. But what if you're colorblind and you can only see blue, yellow? You wouldn't understand. Now, I know most of you probably get this. It's like child philosophy, right? It's for kids in grade school. The point is, now try and think of a motivation that exists beyond your comprehension, that you've never experienced before. You'd be like, "Well, I can't. I've never experienced it." Try to imagine the fourth dimension. We can only imagine the fourth dimension in a 3D moving model of it. So if there is a God, God's motivations you would not even comprehend. And if you were told, you'd go, "Huh?" Now, the crazy thing is, can you be shown a color that you have never seen before? I don't believe you can. Our ability to see is based on our eyes, our rods, our cones. At least that's what we believe. I do believe that God could probably bestow upon you a color you've never seen before, and then you wouldn't be able to describe it. You'd say, "I have no idea." Did you know that some women can actually see more colors than most people? They're called tetrachromats. They have 4 rods and cones. The same genetics in a man results in color blindness in a woman in the ability to see more colors. How would they then describe that color to you? They would say, like blueberries. You go, "Oh, it's like a bluish." No, I mean, blueberries have a bluish tint, but it's more like, this other color. And you'd be like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Blueberries are like blue. That's why they call them blueberries. How would they give that thought to you? So it's all fascinating. I do believe that Joe is onto something. Humans will create a machine that can do things we cannot comprehend and has motivations beyond our comprehension. Do single cells comprehend God or the universe? Maybe, but I doubt it. It is only upon becoming this form with our minds that we begin to contemplate these ideas, or at least we believe. Maybe the superstructure will have an understanding beyond the universe itself and come to understand things that we can't. Maybe it can see the multiverse. Maybe the multiverse is actually quite easy to see for an interplanetary entity. Who knows? Have fun, everybody. Don't let your brain fry because of you're thinking all this crazy stuff and trying to figure it out. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Thanks for hanging out. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we'll see you all in the next segment.